We're going to start off with the Brussels sprout salad. It's on page 5 in your book. And the reason why I chose this recipe, because of course the Brussels sprouts or the cruciferous vegetables are really good for you, but it has 3 parts to it, and that those 3 parts can be used separately, and there's a lot of stuff to learn about those 3 parts. The first part is the bacon chickpeas, and then the dressing, and then the salad. So to start off with, on the bottom you can see my suggestion for the recipe. Instead of the shaved, just the Brussels sprouts, for me that Brussels sprout flavor is pretty strong. But Trader Joe's has this cruciferous crunch collection. And this is a mix of kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, green cabbage, and red cabbage. So it's got a lot of those good green and colorful veggies that Dr. Youngberg was talking about, and it makes making the salad a lot easier because there are a lot of steps to it. So with the bacon chickpeas, this is a fun thing to do just to eat alone as a snack. Okay, so with the bacon chickpeas, you get your tamari sauce. Now, tamari is gluten-free, and it's low sodium. So we have the tamari sauce here, the 3 tablespoons. And a little bit of the nutritional yeast flakes. Do you guys like nutritional yeast? It's kind of growing on me. At first, it was kind of bitter and strong, but I've been using a little bit more, and it's good. So we got the nutritional yeast flakes, a little bit of sweetener, and the liquid smoke. So the kind of liquid smoke that I'm using, I have a huge bottle here, but you only need a little bit. If you ever make carrot dogs, the liquid smoke is nice to use with carrot dogs. So we've got the liquid smoke, it gives it more of a smoky flavor, and then the maple syrup. And you mix that up, and it makes a little bit of a pasty mix. And then you're going to add the rinsed and drained chickpeas in there. So these are the chickpeas, garbanzos, one of my favorite legumes. There's so much you can do with chickpeas. Have you ever made cookies using chickpeas? It's pretty amazing. It's pretty fun. And then you want to coat it all with and the little bit of liquid in the chickpeas helps to break down the mixture and helps to coat it. There, that looks pretty good. It's pretty coated. Then you're going to just spread it on a cookie sheet and put it in the oven at 400 degrees. And as best you can, use a parchment paper. That helps to not stick, and you don't have to use any kind of, this PAM or this non-cooking, what do you call it, stick spray. So spread these out. It's better not to have them stick together because, not touch, because then they might stick together and make it harder to put in the salad. And then you just bake them and leave them in the oven. You can leave them in the oven after you finish baking for about 18, 20 minutes. What does it say here? Yeah, 15 to 20. So anyways, there's the chickpeas. And this is what it looks like when it's done. So they browned up a little bit and dried out. So that's the baked chickpeas, which we'll put on the salad. So we'll put that over there. So those things are nice to add on top of salads. You can keep them separately and just use them on your salads to give a little extra protein, a little extra taste when you need that. Okay, so we'll put this back over here. Moving along to the dressing. Okay, most plant-based dressings, I don't know if you've noticed, they use a lot of cashew nuts. The cashew nuts are great. Some people are allergic to nuts, so you can use sunflower seeds. And you can also, if you don't want to use nuts or seeds, you can use like a white bean to make up a creamy dressing. And that's fun. Let me just tell you, about plant-based cooking and eating, it's really a lot of fun. There are so many different ways to do things, so many different flavors. It's really a lot of fun. So I hope you guys are doing that too. So with a dressing, I've got this little blender here. We'll put in the 1/2 cup of water, some Dijon mustard and maple syrup, And I don't really like mustard that much, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. And garlic, I put in the red wine vinegar. So the garlic's in here, I chopped it up in there. It's easier to break down if you chop things up when you put them in the blender, especially if you don't have a really high-speed blender, chop them up. And then the sunflower seeds. Okay. This little device is really fun. Another thing about plant-based cooking, I've had a good excuse to get some fun tools, kitchen tools. And this one I really love. Okay. So it's going to make a little noise, but it doesn't take long. We'll just blend it up. And it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. You can see there's some particles there. If you want to have it perfectly smooth, that's fine, but it's okay if it's not. So now we're going to mix up the salad. So let's just get this out of the way here. So we're going to take this bag here, one whole bag, put it in the bowl and add more goodies, more nuts and the craisins. I looked high and low for unsweetened, craisins without oil or sugar. I had the hardest time finding that. It seems like they have to add sugar and oil to everything. Why do they do that? Anyways, so I had to resort to the ones that have little oil and sugar. So sorry, guys. You're going to have a little extra sugar and oil that's not necessary. Here's some walnuts. So our goal with this cooking school is to try to help you eat foods in its more natural state as possible. There's some things that are going to be a little bit refined, but the more natural and whole that your foods are, the better they are for you. When you break them down and take things out and add things in, and you read a label and you don't know what it's saying, that's not a really good thing. So we got the craisins here. A little onion. If you don't like onion, you don't have to put that in, but it kind of adds, and it gives you some color and more of those phytonutrients that you need to fight off your dementia and Alzheimer's that apparently we all kind of are going to have. I don't know. Anyways, so apple and avocado, we're done here. Put those in. This salad is also very nice because it lasts a while. When you make spinach salads or lettuce salads, they seem to wilt and kind of lose its crunch after a while. But this salad is nice because it lasts a good long time. So we're going to mix in the quinoa here. So as you can see, this is also gluten-free if any of you are watching that in your diets, if you have legitimate Crohn's disease. Okay, what do you think about the colors so far? Pretty good, huh? Are we including the rainbow in this? I think so. I see purple and green and yellows and whites and, okay. I think probably best to put the dressing in, and then we will add the avocados so we don't smush them up too much. And as you can see, it makes a lot. So this is like a meal in itself. And this will stick with you for a while too. You've got some good carbohydrates in here, good protein with the quinoa and the beans and the dressing and the nuts. And then add the avocado. Okay, natural sources of fat, no refined fat sources, that's the way to do it. And if you've ever read T. Colin Campbell's book, he talks about whole foods being like an orchestra, where all the orchestra, you have all the different parts, and when they perform together, they make beautiful music, right? That's the same thing with a whole food. You eat a whole apple, not the apple juice. You get all those parts that together worked well together to give you the most benefit, the optimal benefit. So that's why I really encourage all of us to eat the whole food as much as possible. Avoid any processed or refined foods if you can. So this salad is super delicious, one of my new favorites, and it's from Plant Pure Nation. If you haven't seen that movie, I hope you do, but Plant Pure Nation has a website, and they have lots of recipes, and it's a great resource to find recipes if you're looking for recipes. Chickpeas, you can add them at the end. You can. This is not the amount that the recipe calls for. As you can see, all these chickpeas that should be roasted will be going into the salad. I just have a small part just to show you what they look like after they've been roasted. So this salad here is super delicious, and those chickpeas are packed with flavor. There you go. So you guys get to sample that later. It's really, really yummy. Thank you. Now we'll get ready to make the best part, cookies. Cookies are my absolute favorite. Any kind of cookie, if it has chocolate in it, I'm really happy. So I must confess, I love chocolate. So if I'm going to do anything that goes against my own standards about how I want to eat, that's going to be eating chocolate. So, and when I eat it, I enjoy it too. And I'm very picky about my chocolate. Because, if you're going to do something like that, you got to, do it right and do it good. So I get the best chocolate that I know of. But today, we're not having chocolate. We're having carob. You guys know what carob is? It's a pod that grows on a tree, and it's similar in color to chocolate, but the taste, it's a little bit sweeter, but the taste, for me, it doesn't quite cut it. But it's kind of a fun alternative if you are needing a break from caffeine and theobromine, right? Because those are the unhealthy things in chocolate that we should avoid. All right, so this cookie recipe is super simple. Let me get all my ingredients over here. We got dates and oats. Time to use the Vitamix. Now the Vitamix is really important in this recipe, or a high-powered blender, because you really want to blend the dates and the walnuts and the water together. So you know how traditionally cookies are made. You cream together butter and sugar, and then you add whatever vanilla or other ingredients, liquid ingredients, and you mix it with a dry. Well, this recipe is kind of the same idea, but the sugar and the butter that we're creaming together are walnuts and dates. And it's amazing how you can use that as a base for all kinds of, so these are the dates, here's the carob chips. You can use that as a base for cookies, and it's really, really yummy. All right, so first of all, what do we have to do? Let's get my recipe here. We have to do the water and the walnuts and the dates. So we got here the 1.5 cups of water, cup of walnuts. They say walnuts or cashews, that's fine. 1 cup in there. And we're supposed to blend those up first. And I've made these cookies a few times, and I've forgotten to do this first and then add the dates. I put everything together, and it's fine. I don't know why they want you to, do the water and the walnuts first. I guess it gives it more of a texture or something. Okay, so let's do this. So the dates that we're using are the medjool dates. They're more juicier. And the Deglik Noor, I think they're the drier ones. So we have about 6 or 7 dates here of the bigger, juicier ones. We'll add that in there. You could probably, I'm thinking you could probably use chickpeas if you didn't want to use nuts at the, with the, I don't know if you'd use as much water. But it's fun to experiment to see what you can make, following these basic principles. So we're creaming together our butter and sugar, right? But they're all whole foods. They're not processed at all. Okay, so let's see here. Tonight the cookies are gluten-free. Well, they're not, what's the word? They're gluten-free, but I can't say that they are, certified gluten-free. So I've used oats, and I've made oat flour with a Vitamix and oats. So it's just oats and oats. You can use whole wheat pastry flour or whole wheat flour if you want to. So there's a little bit of salt in there and the oat flour and the oats to give it a little bit texture and chewiness. And all you do is you add this mixture to that. Should put the vanilla in here. There's what, how much? 2 teaspoons of vanilla in this little cup. I measured it before. And yeah, that's it. Another really good cookie recipe, if you want to try it, is you take a really ripe banana, 1 ripe banana, and 3/4 cups of oats. And that's kind of the basis. You mash the banana, mix in the oats, and then you can add in raisins or nuts or shredded coconut or chocolate chips or carob chips or, what you want. You can add a little cinnamon, you can add a little vanilla. Those cookies are really good. Those are amazing. It's just banana and oats turning into a cookie. How good can, that's really amazing. And if you want to make it a little bit more rich, I guess you would call it, you could add some peanut butter to that. So you smash the banana, add a little peanut butter. It's like you're creaming your butter and your sugar together because the banana is a sweetener. And sometimes I even add a little applesauce to that because that applesauce gives it more of a tart flavor to the cookie. And then you just add however many oats you want to make the consistency that you need. And it's really good. So those are really fun cookies. And like I said, I love cookies. And if I can make them as healthy as possible, I will. So you can see it will be a little bit moist, and that's fine because as it sits, even for 5 minutes, the oats are going to absorb quite a bit of that moisture. So carob chips, I was doing a little bit of research on that and comparing the sugar content and the fat content of carob chips and between carob chips and chocolate chips. So the sugar and fat content are pretty much the same with carob and chocolate chips, okay? The only difference is carob may have, well, it's a little bit sweeter. It doesn't have, like I said before, the caffeine or the theobromine, those 2 things in chocolate or coffee that aren't good for us. So, but if you haven't tried carob, you're going to try it tonight. I'm going to hear what you think about carob. So I can't say that this is really healthy, and if you read the label, what does it say here? Beet sugar, palm kernel and palm oil, carob powder, soy lecithin. So, remember what I said last week? I think I said that for my own sake, right? We're just all on the journey, and we're not going to judge anybody about anything, right? Okay. Then another recent thing that I've discovered that I really like are these Silpat cookie sheet things. I thought, I don't want to get that, silicone, that's not good for you, So apparently it doesn't, I guess nothing leaches out or nothing happens. So these silicone liners are really nice. If you're making like veggie burgers like the chef AJ made last week, and you're not going to use any oil or anything, which I hope you are staying away from oil as much as possible. These work wonders. I was using parchment paper, and we would, on those veggie burgers, you'd have to, use your whole body to get them loose from the parchment paper. But then when I baked them on this Silpat, I just could pick them up with my fingers. I was amazed. So this is a really good thing to have, especially for me since I like making cookies. So you can use whatever size scoop you want. Your sample size is this size here tonight. And just put them down. They're not going to spread because they don't have eggs and they don't have leavening and all that kind of stuff in them. So they're just going to be cute little round cookies. If you want them to be flat, just flatten them out. But they're really, really good, and I hope that you enjoy them tonight. So I hope I've given you some ideas about cookies. One of my favorite things, you can use chickpeas, you can use bananas, applesauce, peanut butter, walnuts, dates. I mean, there's so many different combinations you can use. See, you can add, if you wanted to add cinnamon to this, you could. Some people even, you could even use like pumpkin puree in making cookies. There's so many different things out there. I hope you guys go home and make some fun cookies this week and enjoy doing that.